Welcome to NFL Nexus, your home for deep dives into the strategy behind the sport we all love. Today, we are breaking down the entire Indianapolis Colts 2026 rookie class. We're going to go way beyond the highlight reels and those instant draft grades to really understand the vision here. All right, let's just dive right into the big question, right? Because this is what it all comes down to for every single team after draft weekend. It's not just about grabbing talented players, it's about targeted improvement. We're not going to just sit here and list off names and their college stats. Nope. We are going to dissect the strategy behind every single pick and every key signing to really get inside the blueprint that general manager Chris Ballard is using to build this team. You know, the big phrase floating around Indianapolis right now is right the ship. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about the pressure this front office is under. This draft wasn't a luxury. It was an absolute necessity. So in today's Explainer, we're taking a deep, comprehensive look at the entire rookie class. And I mean everyone. That includes the 8 draft picks and, so crucially, the undrafted free agents who, believe me, often become key pieces in Indy. We're going to see exactly how the Colts attacked their biggest problems and ask, was it enough? Okay, first things first. Before we even get to the guys who heard their names called, it is absolutely essential to understand why that period after the draft, the post-draft signing period, is such a massive deal in Indianapolis. For a lot of teams, it's kind of an afterthought, a chance to fill out the training camp roster with some extra bodies. But for the Colts, it's a core part of their team-building philosophy, and it has been for years. It's a foundational pillar of how they put together their final 53-man roster. And this slide, wow, it really puts it all into perspective. Finding these hidden gems after the draft isn't some new thing for the Colts. It's practically a tradition. And we're not talking about just role players. We're talking about franchise cornerstones. Think about center Jeff Saturday, an undrafted free agent who became the anchor of a Super Bowl-winning line for Peyton Manning. Or linebacker Gary Brackett, another UDFA who became the heart and soul of that defense. Even the legendary kicker Adam Vinatieri started his journey this way. And this is a tradition Chris Ballard has leaned into heavily. I mean, he kicked off his tenure by claiming Kenny Moore II off waivers, a former undrafted guy who became a Pro Bowl cornerback. He also found his franchise punter, Rigoberto Sanchez, in that same UDFA pool. This history proves it. For the Colts, the end of the draft is really just the beginning of finding talent. All right, Section 2, fixing the defense. Let's get to the heart of the matter, shall we? The Colts walked into this draft with glaring, flashing red light needs on the defensive side of the ball. Specifically, they needed immediate, impactful help at linebacker and a lot more juice from their edge rushers. So, how did they do it? Well, they didn't just throw one pick at the linebacker problem and hope for the best. No, they doubled down. And they didn't just add 2 random players either. As we're about to see, they brought in 2 prospects with very specific, highly complementary skill sets, which just screams a clear and calculated plan to completely overhaul the middle of their defense for the modern NFL. And this right here, this brilliantly illustrates their entire strategy. On one hand, you've got C.J. Allen. Landing him in the second round was a stroke of genius. He's young, he's incredibly fast with that 4.47 40-yard dash, and he has that classic sideline-to-sideline range you crave. He's projected to be the new green dot, which means he'll be the guy with the radio in his helmet, the on-field coach getting the defensive calls. He is your every down anchor. Then, on the other hand, you have Bryce Botcher. He's a specialist. His job is going to be to come in on 3rd and long and use his coverage skills to lock down running backs and tight ends. He's a tactical weapon, and his value on special teams gives him a really high floor. It's just a perfect pairing of foundation and function. And guess what? They use the exact same double-up strategy to address the pass rush on day 3. First, they took a massive swing with George Gums Jr. Now, this is a fascinating prospect, a former wide receiver who transitioned to defensive end. Just think about that for a second. That tells you he has elite, top-tier athleticism, but he's also really, really raw. This is the definition of a high-ceiling, high-reward project. Then, just 1 round later, they grabbed Caden Curry, a local kid from Greenwood, Indiana. Curry isn't the freak athlete Gums is, but man, he was incredibly productive, piling up 11 sacks in his final year. He wins with a relentless motor and great technique. So it's a bet on traits with Gums and a bet on production with Curry. See the pattern? Now for Section 3, building the trenches. It's an old cliche because it's absolutely true. Great teams are built from the inside out. The Colts didn't forget about their foundations, so let's see how they went to work strengthening both the offensive line and the secondary. So the crucial point here is that these mid-round picks are not just depth pieces. They are being brought in to create direct competition.
Jalen Farmer is described as a mauler in the run game. The team thinks he's got the versatility to back up all 5 O-line spots, which is just invaluable. But more importantly, he's expected to push for the starting right guard job right away. Then in the 3rd round, they snag safety A.J. Halsey. He's a true ball hawk who can play either safety spot or even drop down into the box. With some uncertainty in the secondary, Halsey has a legitimate, strong chance to be a starter from the moment the season kicks off.
All right, now let's get back to what makes the Colts team-building process so fascinating. The draft is over, all 8 picks are in the books, but Chris Ballard is just getting started. He's heading back to his specialty, finding those diamonds in the rough, the players everyone else somehow overlooked.
And maybe, just maybe, the most intriguing player the Colts added all weekend wasn't one of their 8 draft picks at all. In fact, he wasn't drafted by anybody. But you absolutely cannot teach his most impressive trait, which is his massive 6'8" frame.
Everybody meet Nolan Rucci. At 6'8" and 314 pounds, with incredible arm length, he is the picture-perfect physical profile for an NFL offensive lineman. He's the prototypical draft and stash project that Ballard has had so much success with. The plan is simple. Get him in the building with offensive line coach Tony Sparno Jr., develop his technique for a year or 2, and you could potentially unearth a starting caliber tackle that you got for the price of a small signing bonus. But the Colts weren't just bargain hunting in the UDFA market. They were also playing chess at the very end of the draft. With one of their final 7th-round picks, they grabbed a player that a lot of analysts expected to be a hot commodity, a guy who would have been a priority free agent. Now, this slide tells a fascinating story. Deion Burks has legitimate game-breaking speed. I mean, a 4.30-second 40-yard dash is absolutely elite stuff. So why did he fall all the way to the 7th round? Well, 2 reasons. He's got a smaller frame at just 5'9", and he comes with a pretty lengthy injury history. That obviously scared off other teams. But the Colts, probably anticipating a massive bidding war for him as an undrafted free agent, wisely decided to take no chances. They used a late pick to secure his rights. It's a classic low-risk, high-reward move that gives their offense a potential deep threat for almost 0 investment. Just smart business. So, we've looked at the draft picks, we've looked at the undrafted gems, we've seen the strategy of doubling up on needs and betting on both raw traits and proven production. After all these moves, what's the final verdict? How should we grade the Colts' 2026 rookie class? Did they pass the test? The general consensus comes out to a very solid B, and that feels right. This wasn't a flashy draft. There was no shocking first-round pick or a blockbuster trade-up that gets everyone talking. This was a blue-collar, meat-and-potatoes draft class designed to do one thing: fix the glaring holes. They needed linebackers? They got 2. They needed edge rushers? They got 2. They needed depth in the trenches? They got it. It was a haul that, without a doubt, raises the floor of the entire roster. They simply got better. And this brings us right back to the ultimate question we started with. The Colts improved their foundation. They patched the most obvious leaks in the ship. But the real impact of this class? Well, that won't be known for years. It's only going to be measured in the one stat that truly matters: the wins column. Is a solid, need-based class enough to finally right the ship in Indy? Only time will tell.
So what do you think? Was a B grade fair? What would you have graded the Colts draft? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, do us a huge favor and hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe to NFL Nexus for more deep dive explainers on your favorite teams. We really appreciate all your support. And one more thing, if you're looking for a great way to help support the channel, we've just launched a new line of coloring books. Seriously, they're perfect for kids, grandkids, or even for adults who just want to relax a bit. You can find them by using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.